Would you like to come out today? Oh, yes, please, said Edward. So they lit his fire, made lots of steam, and Edward puffed away.
The railway was busier than ever this holiday season, and everywhere you looked there were engines moving to and fro. Everyone was feeling very rushed off their wheels. Things were so hectic that the Fat Controller had loaned engines from the mainland to assist, and everybody from Spencer to Little Ivor had been requested to help. However, not all of the island's visitors would be staying. Flying Scotsman sat in the yards, filling up his tender at the coaling stage for what would be one of the final times. Edward noticed his sad expression as he puffed in. Is something wrong, Scott? I'm feeling conflicted, I suppose, Scotsman replied. About what, might I ask? My stay here is coming to an end shortly. I'll be going back to the NRM this evening, so my driver and fireman can be home in time for Christmas. It's always good to be home for the holidays. I know I'd be sad if I couldn't stay at Nafford over Christmas, said Edward. Indeed. But that's what I've been thinking about. I'm not really sure where my home is. What do you mean? I feel like this is where my home should be. This is where my brother lives, and it's a proper working railway. I can have a good long run, taking proper passengers alongside him. I'm sure he would love that. As would I. But I'm starting to think I'm getting too old for this sort of thing. I'm going to be 108 years. It's nice to relive the old days here with him, but I feel as if we should move on, said Edward. Yes, I enjoy my stays here very much, Edward, but the NRM is where I truly belong. I enjoy taking trains now and then, but I need a rest. I understand, said Edward. We all get to the point in our lives where we need to take a step back. I, for one, should know. That's why I went to my branch line way back when. I'm just worried. About? Gordon. I don't know if he'll understand. I feel like I'm betraying my brother by leaving him. Edward smiled. Scotsman, I tell you with great confidence that he will. He knows that every old engine needs brakes, and he trusts you to know when yours are. In fact, I think he may be considering slowing down himself. What do you mean? Oh, you'll learn in time. Before tonight, talk to him about this. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. As soon as Edward finished, Scotsman's driver walked up. Alright, that's enough sitting around, Scotty. Let's get moving. Right. Thank you, Edward. I feel much better now, Scotsman said as he started off. I'm glad I could help. Even if your home is the NRM, remember you'll always have a place here. I will! The Flying Scotsman shouted as he puffed away. Edward smiled. Oh, to be that age again. Don't just sit around, Edward. There's work to be done, said Rosie. Well, excuse me, Edward laughed. I'm about to refuel, I'll have you know. Ha! All of the engines were busy this Christmas, but it could be said Rosie was the most swamped with work. Along with shunting at the big station, she had to take short trains down the main line, making her feel quite worn out. The other shunters tried to lighten the load as much as they could, but with so much work to do, it wasn't making much of a dent. On one such occasion where she could stop, her fireman took a picture of the station's decorations with his camera. Stop taking so many pictures, that noise is getting on my nerves. Her fireman just laughed and lifted up the water pipe. Rosie looked at the station with contempt. I hate Christmas, she exclaimed to no one in particular. Hate Christmas, said Belle as she rolled in. Well, it's the most enjoyable time of the year. How am I supposed to enjoy it when I've got so much work to do? What do you mean? I've been rushing everywhere without a break in between, Rosie said. The trucks groaned as they drifted together. It's always shunt these aggregates, take these empties to Tinmouth, help put up these decorations. Might as well give me the flying kipper at this rate. I'm sorry you're so busy, said Belle. But are you sure it's for the holiday itself? It's not like you'll understand. You're not a shunter. Rosie immediately regretted her words. Wait, no. I'm sorry, Belle. I didn't mean that. That was unwarranted. It's fine, Belle sighed. No, it's not. Oh, darn. I gotta go take a train to Crosby. I'll be right back. Sorry. And Rosie puffed away. Belle sighed. Poor Rosie. Perhaps... As Rosie puffed down the main line, she thought about what she had said. That was really mean. I should apologize properly. But how? It is Christmas time, said her driver. Maybe we should get her a present. Belle's got everything. Nothing that I could find would be good enough. I'm sure you'll find something, assured her driver. You never know. Rosie looked all around. A tree? No, that's too big. Coal? She got plenty of that. Nope. That's a disaster waiting to happen. A signal? No, she hates signals. Rosie? And Emily? Emily was racing towards her with an express! Look out! Rosie screeched to a stop just before the point. Phew! Pay attention to the slack for once, Rosie's driver said. I'd like to get home in one piece. Rosie looked all around Crosby Station for something, anything she could give to Belle. She had to admit, the station looked beautiful this time of year. Next to the building sat a beautifully decorated tree, with lights and bulbs all over. Her fireman liked the scene as well, and she heard the printing of a photo from his camera. Wait a minute. Camera. Photos. That's it! She shrieked. Don't do that, said her fireman. Nearly had a heart attack. We need to hurry back to Natford and get out the tape, said Rosie as she sped away. Her crew were very confused, but went along with it. After a short time at the sheds, Rosie rushed back into the yard. Belle, I've got something for you. She paused as she looked around. The yards had been completely shunted, with several dozen trains ready to go. Every truck, coach, and van was in its place. How did you... I know a thing or two about shunting. It's what I did before I came here. She laughed. I had a little help. Happy to be of service, said Philip. Thank you so much, exclaimed Rosie. You did all this even after I was rude? Oh, I knew just because you're so busy, said Belle. Rosie smiled. Oh, I made something for you. Well, my driver and fireman did, but I had the idea. Her driver walked up with a large book. Merry Christmas, Belle. Inside were dozens of pictures of the two engines, laughing, smiling, and making memories. Belle's face lit up. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. She began to tear up. It's beautiful. I'm sorry, such a humbug, said Rosie. That's alright. We all get a little stressed this time of year. Yeah, you're right. You're the best, Belle. I'll do what I can. Belle smiled. Come on, James said as his wheels slipped and slipped, trying to get his heavy coaches moving. Keep it down, James, we're having a moment, said Philip. So am I. Moment of failure, he said. Finally, the wheels gripped, and he skidded onto the main line. These icy rails are such a nuisance, said James as he pulled into Bosworth. I can hardly get a grip this time of year. You've got it easy with coaches, Henry replied. Imagine how I must feel with these goods trains. That's just because you're the slow one, teased James. When you're as fast as me, you don't slip as much. You want to bet? Chuckled Henry. James smiled cheekily. The two sets of crews got bad feelings in their stomachs. First one of the trunk gets the boiler flush, said James. You're on. As if on cue, 2 whistles blew and 2 green flags waved. Go! Immediately both engines began to flip on the rails. The driver gave his hand a gear inside. This was going to be a long day. Come on. Get moving. A very puzzled Harvey puffed past the two stalling engines. Finally, they felt their wheels grip. "Oh, I'm gonna win," chortled James. "Don't be so sure," said Henry. The two engines raced down the main line at tremendous speed. They sped past snowdrifts, signals, and a very confused Spencer. The passengers were none the wiser as they stormed up Gordon's Hill. Luckily, the Scottish twins had salted the rails earlier, but the climb was still tough. The two engines puffed hard. "More sand," Henry said to his driver. "Now this way we'll run out my mare," sighed the fireman. At last, the top came into view. "Nearly there, come on," groaned James. "That will be easy." The two engines finally reached the top. James was right. It was easy. Too easy. James and Henry flew down the other side of the hill, going faster and faster. They tried to brake, but their wheels were locked up. They began to slide down the gradient. "Said Henry. "Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I'm gonna need new wheels by the end of this," James exclaimed. "Reminds me of tobogganing back home," said James finally. "Maybe not this time for reminiscing," the driver said as he fought in vain to get control over his engine. "For once, could you not hold back?" Henry yelled to the trucks. "Nah. I'll see you. This is fun. You guys are useless." "At least we'll be on time," said the coaches. The passengers were none the wiser, but it was probably for the best. By the time they were approaching Marin, the two engines were still failing to grip the icy rails. "Oh, Henry, you might want to look alive." "What? Oh, God!" Henry swerved into the goods yard, whistling frantically and nearly avoiding several wagons. He rattled over the points as the signalman hectically changed them. Eventually, though, he exited the yard without a scratch. "Thank the Lord." "That was lucky. Now it's your turn to look alive." "What?" The points in front of James changed and he swerved into a siding. Ahead of him was three massive snowdrifts. "Oh, good grief!" James's front was covered with snow as he rejoined the main line. Henry showed him no pity. "Ha ha ha! Oh, that's rich." "Shut up! I can hardly see!" What James could see was that Kronk Station was approaching faster and faster. The two engines were going much too quickly. "Bubbling boilers!" cried Henry. "Hold on, ladies and gents," said James. Henry and James deployed their sand and threw it in reverse. The brake van and coaches braked with all the strength they had. Stop! They both stopped just in time. Phew. Whew. They looked at each other. "Was that a..." "Yep, it was a tie." "Darn it," James laughed. Henry followed suit, a bit too loud. Snow loosened on the canopy, and then... Ah! "Not again!" Nobody could hear what the engines were saying in the snow, but they didn't sound very pleased. As James's passengers disembarked, they were quite confused as to why they were so early. "Oh, for goodness sake!" More snow fell on James and Henry. Outside Kronk Mail Depot, Thomas and Percy were arguing. "You're doing it again," said Percy. "You're leaving no mail for me." "I don't see what the problem is. You pull the mail every week," Thomas exclaimed. "I want to deliver packages to the people on the branch too, and this is my only time to do it." "You take the milk to Ulster every week. That's different." "Sure it is. All I know is that you're trying to steal the spotlight from me. This is my big job." "You have plenty of big jobs. What about give me the van?" Percy wheezed. Thomas's face was red hot. "Fine, have it your way. Tammy, decouple the last van." The two engines glared at each other. The fireman quickly detached the wagon from the train. Thomas puffed away in a huff. "It's not like you and Thomas to argue," Percy's driver said. "Well, it's not like him to be silly either," said Percy. "There's almost be getting to him because he's being stupid. You should be more kind, Percy. It is Christmas." "He's the one that's not being kind," said Percy. His driver sighed as Percy collected the third van. By the time they'd been loaded, it was dark. Thomas had left before Percy, leaving them all alone in the yard. Snow had begun to gently fall to the ground. "We should be careful," said the driver. "It'll surely get deep in the valley." Percy eyed the mainline with a concerned look. "But the mail must get through," he said determinedly. The foreman gave the all clear, and Percy set off into the night. snow made it more difficult to see, but the signal light showed green, and the points were set. Or so Percy thought. Come on. Wait, what's that? What's what? Asked the driver. Stop! Percy's brakes screamed, but the heavy mail van pushed him forward. With a loud crunch, he was stuck in a large bank of snow. Oh, bother. This is just what we needed tonight, said the fireman. Now what? Glad to detonate us. I'll go find help, I suppose, said the driver. And that's what they did. Percy was left all alone in his bank of snow, with only a lamp for company. Oh, I hope somebody comes soon. I don't want to be here all night. Percy waited and waited, and the snow fell and fell, but nobody came. He began to tear up. Where are they? I'm going to be stuck here until New Year. Oh. Then, what sounded like deep puffing could be heard from ahead. Percy squinted through his tears to see a large headlight in the distance. Who was? A colossal engine emerged from the snow with a long train behind it. It slowed to a crawl and then stopped on the other end of the pile. Percy was in awe. Who are you? Who I am doesn't matter, a voice replied. Who you are does, and what you've been saying. But what do you mean? You've been pretty rude to your pal, haven't you? How did you... Get around, laughed the voice. I suppose I was. It's just, I feel like Thomas always gets all the big jobs, and I'm stuck tailing behind him. Don't you think he feels bad for you? I guess I never thought about that. He knows that he gets the jobs that put him in the spotlight, whether he likes it or not. And he's been put in that situation thanks to his fame. I bet he wishes that you could do the same things he does. But sometimes that's not how it works out. He only wants to do this one so bad because he thinks it's actually important. You're right, sir. I've been a bad friend. Says who? It's neither your fault, do you understand? It's just a communication error. He just needs to be a bit more transparent with what he's thinking. This time of year, which matters more? A mail van or your friends and family? My friends and family. I'll tell them everything right away. Oh, I'm still stuck. Oh, I'm never going to get back home. Don't fret, young one. It takes two to grow after an argument, and the other party's on his way. Well, what? What do you mean? You'll see. Now, let me give you a hand. The engine blew his whistle long and loud. Percy then heard puffing in the distance. Percy! Thomas emerged from the snow, blowing his whistle happily. Oh, Percy, thank goodness you're all right. Thomas? You came to rescue me even after... It was a silly argument. I shouldn't have tried to steal your job. You weren't trying to steal my job, Thomas. You just wanted to... Oh, my new friend can explain it better. Tell him what you said... Huh? As Percy looked over, the other engine was gone. But he was... The snow must have gone to your smoke box, Thomas laughed. Percy was still puzzled, but smiled. The point is that I understand. It's not your fault. I'm glad. Now, let's get you home. The sheds were brimming with warmth and cheerful sound as Thomas and Percy arrived back. Gordon was chuckling loudly. Oh, Scotsman, you worry too much. I'll be fine. Are you sure? Positive. You're not leaving me anywhere. That's good to hear. You will write to me, though, of course. Every single week. Every single day. Belle laughed. I didn't call you that much, Shirley, said Rosie. Yes, you did. But it certainly kept my spirits up. Hoover's hate is noise, but it sure can get boring. Oh, I remember that. That was when we got matching paint. Oh, yes. Man, that was such a great birthday gift. I'll never forget this day. In hindsight, that was actually kind of fun, said James. Maybe for you, I could have been killed, Henry laughed. Oh, you're too dramatic. You would have been fine. You know you liked it. Oh, you know me too well, James. But before I go over that hill again, I'm going to see that Donald and Douglas result on both sides. Thomas and Percy smiled together. The Northwestern Railway had never seemed happier.